And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for our Freedom Award recipients, Shebitz Berman Cohen Delforte. It is my pleasure to introduce them to you tonight, for those of you who don't know. Shebitz Berman Cohen Delforte is a law firm located in Midtown Manhattan that focuses its practice on education, labor and employment, civil rights, and not-for-profit laws, among the many other areas. They have served as AABR's counsel for the nearly 20 years. If you ever look at their profile, you will see phrases in reference such as a little big firm. That for them means they can provide their clients with personal attention that you don't always find when seeking expert counsel. They pride themselves in delivering the very best for AABR and have certainly done so for all these many years. It should also be said about them that many families were helped by them as they came to grips with battles with the Board of Education and other difficulties they would encounter in properly supporting a child with disability. Shebitz Berman Cohen Delforte were there to help them navigate through the maze of entitlements and legal skirmishes. For AABR, it began with George Shebitz, whose career took him through the halls of the Board of Education and labor into private practice. He was, to all accounts here at AABR, a tireless worker on our behalf, taking up our mission in securing the rights and dignity for people with special needs. George began with us over 25 years ago, and AABR still misses him. His impact was so profound that AABR opened its residence on 6th Avenue in College Point in 2006 and named it the George Shebitz Residence. And we're so pleased tonight that his wife, Randy, was here to join us. Randy Shebitz, everybody. Fred Berman has been practicing attorney since 1977 and heads the firm's practice in areas of corporate transactions, commercial litigations. Fred has always been there for us in these areas, making himself available at most any hour that I call. I can truly say that. He has been a loyal and devoted partner for AABR, and we truly appreciate his wise counsel. Julia Cohen. As with Fred, it's someone I can call at almost any hour or any weekend day, and she'll be there in her support of AABR. She has distinguished herself not only in their offices and in the courts, but on Court TV, numerous advisory committees, and not-for-profit boards. Her expertise and good fortune, and our good fortune, is her razor-sharp understanding of education, not-for-profit, and regulatory compliance and labor law. And you may not only know Julia's talent is not only in the spoken and written word, but also in the language of music as a violinist. Matt Delforte. I'm glad you all brought the fan club. It's terrific. Matt Delforte has demonstrated his expertise in education law and serves as a professor at the College of St. Rose, as well as his previous tenure at Fordham University Graduate School of Education. He is a regular presenter at conferences on education law, and he also represents clients in the areas of labor and employment and has helped support our cause at AABR. For their dedicated service, their attention to the changing needs of our organization, their ability to find answers to some of the most vexing disputes, and more importantly, their guidance and help in our time of need, we are proud to present AABR's Freedom Award.
This is Fred. And this is Matt. Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for coming out tonight. On behalf of everyone at Shebitz Berman Cohen Delforte, our attorneys, and our dedicated staff, thank you for this humbling honor. The rest of our team is back here. Stand up, guys. Whenever I'm meeting or speaking with AABR's staff or speaking with AABR's clients, I'm reminded of how vital the work that you do is and how proud I am that our firm is associated with AABR's mission to empower, motivate, and educate people with disabilities so that every life finds meaning. In the course of the 20 years that we've been working together with AABR, I've seen this mission in action time and time again. I'd like to tell you about one of those experiences. Some years ago, one of AABR's residents was having a very difficult time. I'm going to call him Steve. Steve had recently come to AABR from living with his parents. He moved into one of AABR's residences. Steve had never lived away from home. He was moving into a house with 5 other individuals and staff members who were going to be present 24/7. The transition was very hard for Steve. A new place, a new routine, new people to know and interact with, housemates, and some new boundaries to establish and to learn to respect. Steve had some very, very challenging behaviors at first. Steve's parents were concerned because when he went home, he was different and he was difficult. He was having trouble transitioning between the boundaries at his parents' house and in his new shared home at AABR. He was having trouble following his parents' house rules and the boundaries involved with shared living at AABR. At first, he wouldn't sit at the table with his new housemates, and he wouldn't eat when he went home at his parents' house. He resisted getting in the car to go home to visit his parents, and he resisted coming back to his AABR home. At first, Steve's parents were afraid he wasn't going to settle in at AABR. And then maybe they'd made a mistake in the decision-making to have him live in a residence with other individuals. But they were getting older, and they knew all that that meant for Steve and for them. AABR's staff worked with Steve and with his parents at his home, at his parents' home, and at his day program, day after day and week after week, to develop an individual working program for Steve so that he could learn to adapt to transition between his parents' home and AABR without disruption or panic. The supports AABR's staff provided were nothing short of amazing. Steve was supported in every part of his daily life, from eating to travel to interacting and sharing with his fellow housemates. A couple of months after Steve moved into AABR's residence, and after the staff continued and consistently worked with his parents and with Steve, I saw Steve at his AABR home. He was helping to cook dinner for his 5 housemates. And as I left the house, I heard Steve call everybody down to the dinner table. He was really proud of the dinner that he had made for his housemates: roast chicken, salad, and green beans. AABR had empowered Steve, motivated him, and educated him. I could tell from talking to Steve that he had found meaning in his life with his housemates and the AABR staff members with whom he worked. One of those folks was Doreen Atwell. We lost her recently, far too soon. I want to acknowledge Doreen's gifts and her generosity of spirit. I miss her, and I know all of you who knew her do too. The work at AABR is hard. It can be frustrating and tiring. AABR's employees, from the executive offices to the residences, the day programs, the school, the family support, drop-in center, respite programs, pre-vocational training programs, and all the other folks who support AABR's clients. They work hard for every penny. Pennies and dollars are harder and harder to come by as the federal and state governments look to cut back and back on services and on the financial support for agencies like AABR. This is a very difficult economic environment. I want to thank you again for this honor. On behalf of all of us at Shebitz Berman Cohen Delforte, I ask you to please give generously to help AABR realize the dream that may each life find meaning. Thank you so very much.
AABR proudly presents the Freedom Award to Shebitz Berman Cohen and Delforte in grateful appreciation for your loyalty, dedication, and counsel in advancing the enduring mission of service to people with disabilities. May each life find meaning. Thank you.
Thank you.